Hello. Happy to be here. Are you there? Thank you for being there. It is Splash 105.5 FM, the Integrity Station. The program is State Affairs. State Affairs takes you round the world. I am Edmondo Bilo. Nation building. Some say, let's have 6 geopolitical zones. It is nation building. Some say, let's have state police. That is nation building. Nation building is a process, and it's a continuous process. Some say, let's revamp the education system. Revamping is building. Building is structuring. Structuring is restructuring. Some would say that we stand at a crossroads of history, that we are surrounded by blueprints for political reform, that we debate economic stimulus, and we consistently say that social restructuring is taking place. Yes, they are. Every day, there is social restructuring. Events around culture, in entertainment, in academics, there is social re-engineering taking place. It's a continuum. The critical question is, who is directing this restructuring? Is it being regulated, or it is driven by the environment itself? In that case, where is the restructuring driving us to? Is there a driver, or it's automated? There is the clamor for change. Nigerians talk about change daily. Change this, upgrade this, move to this, check insecurity. It is nation building. Some call for a new law, a new leader. They see the vitality of inspiring leadership. Some say, hey, we need this leader. And they see that leader as the road to national prosperity. It is their choice. It is their making. It is what they want. But listen, that you seek a new law, a new leader that will pave the road to national prosperity is fine. But take note, lasting greatness for a nation is forged in the conscience of its citizens. Take note. Lasting greatness for a nation is forged in the conscience of its citizens. Nation building is the flourishing of good virtues. You are building. Building is deliberate. Building is regulated. Building is planned. Building is architecture, design. Building is civil engineering. Building is human engineering. Building is environmental. It is driven. That is why it is building. You can build into a skyscraper. You can build a castle. It is wanted. It is deliberate. It is effort. It is structural. Is that where restructuring comes in? Look at this. It is an illusion to assume we can legislate prosperity into existence. It is an illusion to assume that we can legislate prosperity into existence. Oh, run to the National Assembly. We need state police now. State police will come, and you will observe something. State police is good. 6 geopolitical zone is good, a good concept. 36 states of the Federation, good idea. But it is an illusion to assume we can legislate prosperity into existence. We heard the Clifford Constitution of 1922. We had the Macpherson Constitution, the Richards Constitution, the Littleton Constitution, the Independence Constitution, the Republican Constitution. We have the 1979 Constitution. We have the 1999 Constitution as amended. Have we been able to legislate prosperity into existence, lifting the people out of poverty, creating educational institutions that can compete with the best anywhere in the world? Have we? Why have we lagged behind despite the consistent restructuring of the Nigerian state from regionalism, from parliamentarianism to presidentialism, from military to democracy? Have we legislated prosperity into existence? Have we been able to tackle insecurity, electricity, health care, education, food for all? Have we? Nation building is the flourishing of good virtues. It is an illusion to assume we can legislate prosperity into existence. A great teacher once wrote, I quote, "Better laws and social conditions will always follow a higher realization of morality among the individuals of a community." the great teacher wrote, "Better laws and social conditions will always follow a higher realization of morality among the individuals of a community." The point the teacher makes is that laws are the reflection, not the source of a people's character. You can make a law and say, "Thou shalt not kill." But you will discover that the state becomes the killer's den, but yet there is a law, "That shall not kill." But in the state, killing is rampant. It's an everyday occurrence. In that case, the law has failed. In that case, the law is not the reflection of the people's character. Corruption is an offense, yet the land is intensely corrupt. So the law is not the character of the people. It is the corruption instinct that is the character of the people. Yet there is a law that corruption is evil. There is EFCC, there is ICPC. Yet the character of the state, the people, is intensely corrupt. Laws are the reflection, not the source of a people's character. That means the law does not reflect the character of the people. Until the law begins to reflect the character of the people, until then will national prosperity come. That means the law says, "Thou shalt not be corrupt." And the people are not corrupt. Because if they were corrupt, the law will take effect. So if the implementation of the law is bogged down by corruption, the law is not a reflection of the people's character. That means the people pretend. Because they pretend, they will not attain national prosperity. Garbage in, garbage out. If Tinubu is the driver of the state, and his responsibility is to drive the state to prosperity, to do that, he must implement the law. But if in the Tinubu era, corruption is rampant, that means the president is not implementing the law. In that case, the president is a reflection of the unimplemented ideals that is embodied in the law. That is the true character of the state. That is why I make the point that nation building, national prosperity is the flourishing of good virtues. See, a statute against corruption is powerless in a culture that secretly admires the clever thief. But I will modify it. A thief can never be clever. So, I will remove the clever thief and say, a statute against corruption is powerless in a culture that secretly admires the thief. So when you see the thief coming in a limousine, I would like to have this limousine. Yet you know he's a thief. That means you want to be a thief. But do you need to be a thief to ride a limousine? No. through the power of your mind and innovation, you can attain the level of wealth to ride a limousine. Now, one of the big signs of corruption is when you see a limousine. When you see a limousine in a road full of potholes, that is the sign of poverty. When you see expensive cars, when you see the all-nice car on the bad road of Ife, it is poverty, it is not wealth. Limousines are ordinarily meant for good roads. That is why on bad roads, you should find caterpillars fixing them. That is building, structural, organized, regulated. That is why leadership is intellectual, deeply philosophical, embedded in ideas, driven by men and women of deep thought. When they are in leadership, there will be national prosperity. When the leadership circle becomes a den of fraudsters, the people will mourn, the people will cry. All right. I have just laid the framework for the class this morning. That is the framework for the class this morning. I have established the framework. So you come in and give it other dimensions. I have made some point, and I want us to talk about them. So you call on WhatsApp. As you call, take note, I am broadcasting through the internet, so there will be delay, especially if you are listening from a transistor radio. So when you're calling into the show, you should not use the radio to monitor your call, because your call will be faster than the voice that comes out of the radio. So once you call, it simply means you are looking at your phone. Once I pick your call, it is reading. It is reading. I know I've picked your call. And once you are looking at your phone, you see that it is reading. Then turn down the volume of the radio or your device so that I don't have to hear myself by the time my voice comes later. Okay? So you call, monitor your phone as it is reading, you speak to me, turn down the volume of your device. So the WhatsApp number to call is 080 18449. That's the WhatsApp number to call. 080 18449. That's the number to call to join the discourse. We are talking about nation building, restructuring. Nation building is also about the mind. Hello. Are you there? Okay, I can't hear that caller. You try again. So let's go 080309. All right, I got you here.
Good morning, Edmond.
Good morning.
My name is Kyle Jalavi. I'm from Liverpool, United Kingdom.
Good to hear your voice.
Well, I think leadership, I believe, is by example. Personally, I don't believe in evangelism. I appreciate when your life evangelizes for me. So if you're a Christian, you're a Muslim, let your life evangelize for people around you. You cannot be carrying Bible or Quran, and your life does not reflect what you are preaching. You have neighbors around you who are hungry. You have people around you who can help. You are not helping them, but you are busy evangelizing. So leadership, I believe, be by example. However, corruption is not just from top to the bottom. Corruption is from bottom to the top. Those days when we were in the university, the ordinary faculty secretary, HOD secretary, when you go and sign course form, they behave like gods in their small space. And those are the ones who will complain at Tinubu in various individual sectors. People, as we fail to do our jobs diligently in our small offices, and then we complain about Mr. Governor, we complain about Mr. President. So I believe change begins with you and I. Thank you very much. We are listening to the feedback.
Thank you. Thank you for that contribution. Thank you. Hello, good morning.
And we complain about Mr. Governor, we complain about Mr. President. So I believe change begins with you and I.
Hello, good morning. Hello.
Thank you very much.
All right. Hello, good morning. The line is open. We are talking about nation building. I have laid a framework before you. Nation building, restructuring, the making of the law. Remember, watch your phone when you call, and you make your contribution. Your radio cannot be the monitor. A declaration of equality rings hollow in the hearts riddled with prejudice. You cannot be talking about equality of citizenship when it can be obvious that one ethnic group is dominating other ethnic groups. You cannot talk of equality in that sense. Hello, good morning.
Morning.
Your name and where you're calling from?
My name is Akin John. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Good morning.
Yeah, I'm calling from Akobo. Are you there?
I can hear you, but turn down the volume of your radio set. You are trying to use your radio to monitor me. All right.
No.
I can't be that patient anymore. I I've made this point again and again. Don't use your radio to monitor when you call. Because of the delay, use your phone. Once I pick it, it is reading. But you want to hear your voice first on the radio before you talk. I've made that point. Your voice will come later. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, the radio man.
I greet you.
Please, to me, I think nation is building collect. Citizen, we have our part to play. At least, many things that happen is not the leader, is not to each other. When you go to the office, you see the way we beat each other. You need something from your boss. Your boss will tell you to bring something for you to do that thing for you. That's part of the things we're causing for ourselves. And
that line is bad. I have to cut it. Sorry about that. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
The little I have monitored in Nigeria politics and governance about the nation building. From Awolowo, in the time of the Awolowo and Sikh ways, they laid foundation and others follows. But in the recent time, those who are coming to power, they are giving the coming ones the picture of there is a food to go and take. I am going there to enrich my family. I am going there to pack something. It is not about building the nation. Look at, for instance, what you just said. No, so, look at the road from Akpata to Abeokuta. Look at that road, and you see beautiful cars going on such a road. We can't even call it a road any longer. I don't know if you have traveled to Abeokuta in the recent times and see what we have there. It is not even road. When you get to Baku, you cannot go along to Omi any longer, to Abeokuta any longer, when we have governments. So even the coming generation now, what they want is, let me get there and make a good life for my family, not building the nation. We are no longer building the nation. When Buhari came, he gave us pictures. I mean, even when Goodluck came, look at what a lot of looting, a lot of corruption during the Goodluck time. And we thought we're going to have APC, a change by slogan that is coming to give us something better than what Goodluck gave us. Now, look at it now. We never thought we were going to be in this mess that we are having under this APC government. You know, recently now, Shemakide released an alarm over the people that were kidnapped in Oyo State, that there must be an investigation, an international investigation. Look at what the Senate members, people who have said we have sent to represent us at the National Assembly, look at what they are saying from their mouths. Now, meaning that these things shouldn't be investigated, meaning that we should not have interest in knowing those people who are perpetrating this evil, meaning we should not have interest in those people that are involved in these cases. I mean, a lot of things that should not be heard at the international level about this country. So we do not have people who have interest in building the nation any longer. God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you for making your point. And thank you for joining the discourse. Hello, good morning. Hello. All right. Nation building. Hello, good morning.
Hello?
Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Ake George.
The ball is in your court. I can hear you.
Yes, I was listening to your radio. You want to contribute, right?
Yes.
Hello?
I
was listening to the last speaker. I was talking about calling. That's is I think we're missing the point. The point of social development or community development starts with the citizens themselves, not with the government. Can you listen to me?
I'm listening.
There's no government that can help, that can build a nation. It's the citizens that build a nation, not government. Even you bring the best president from all over the world, in the world, the best president you call the best president, you call them best. In their country, they are not best because it's the people that contribute, not the president, not the leaders. It's the citizen that has the power to do that. When somebody says they should, at least someone saying they should, people were criticizing one governor for calling them to come and prove the adoption of citizens and things like that. That's not how to develop. That's not. How can you come call other nations to come and investigate your nation? It's not. It's never done. You have to investigate yourself, your people. You have the machinery. The confidence must be in your people. Such a people talking. If you want development to take place in your nation, it's the people, not the foreigners. Foreigners cannot help you. They have their own problems. So people should know that it is we, Nigeria, that can help the nation to grow, not foreigners, not strangers, not foreign government. Thank you.
Thank you for calling. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Hello.
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Good. So I just want to contribute. This is Michael calling from Germany. And yeah, like you've rightly proceeded, I believe the laws, like even the Bible said, the man is not made for the law, but the law is made for the man. And I believe the character of the people determines the character of the law, in line with what you have said. So if the people are corrupt, no matter how well written the law is, it will be of no effect. Like here in Germany, it doesn't matter who you are. When you foul the law, maybe if you're a big man or you are an influential person, it will not matter. But the moment it comes to the public that you foul the law, you cannot escape. But in Nigeria, the reverse is the case. The politicians, the people in power get to violate the law blatantly, publicly, with zero repercussion. And that is why you see an average Nigerian wants to get to power by all means, because the purpose of power is to oppress and to violate the law. I was reading recently about a lady that died in one minister's house, and nothing has been done. The minister has not said anything. His office has not said anything.
No, the minister has said something.
Hello? In a country with... Hello?
Yes, the minister has come out to defend himself.
Oh, really? I didn't get that.
Yes, he has said something, so I needed to make the point.
Okay. Just to support your point and to make my point and to round up and not waste much of your time, is that Nigeria as a people, you first need to introspect. And you don't even need, when we follow the Bible or the Quran, you don't need a Christian to know what is right. Here in Germany, another person claims they are atheists or free thinker, but they know what is right. It is innate in men to know what is right.
Thank you.
But doing what is right is what we need to do as Nigerians. Thank you very much. And I commend you for the great work that you're doing on radio. We appreciate. We listen.
Thank you.
To you.
Thank you. Yes, I'll open the lines again. But let me make this point and emphasize that laws are the reflection, not the sources, of a people's character. A statute against corruption is powerless in a culture where the people admire thieves. A declaration of equality rings hollow in the heart riddled with prejudice. No external enactment can save a nation whose internal virtues, integrity, diligence, compassion, responsibility have grown lags. No external enactment can save a nation whose internal virtues have grown lags. The program is State Affairs on Splash 105.5 FM, the Integrity Station. Stay tuned. Stay cool. Let's listen to a former South African president, Thabo Mbeki, taking us into the past, reminding us of the struggle against apartheid in his country, South Africa, taking us into the contribution of the frontline states in defending members of the ANC and the black majority of South Africa. Thabo Mbeki.
I keep telling stories about what happened in the past. In terms of our relationship as a liberation movement with the rest of the continent. I tell a story, for instance, of one of the cadres of the ANC in Zambia, who became our person at the airport. So he received us coming in, going out. It was a very familiar furniture at Lusaka International Airport, such that they would allow him free run of the airport. He would run, get into the planes on the tarmac and all that. And one day, the Zambia police come to the ANC office and they say, his name was Oshkosh. That was his pseudonym. They said, can we please see Oshkosh? But let him come with one of your senior people. So I was asked to accompany Oshkosh to the Zambia police. And the police officer says, Oshkosh, you a free run of the airport because you work for the ANC. And what you've been doing, some planes land in Lusaka. You walk into the plane to collect drugs from drug dealers. You walk through the airport with the drugs. The drug dealer is Zambian, comes through the airport as it's clean, and you hand over the drugs to them outside. So my mouth is dropping. So the police officer said, now, but Oshkosh denied what I'm saying. He couldn't. And so we wanted to tell you, Oshkosh, this thing. So that's the end of the business. So we stand up to look out. The police officer says to me, no, Mr. Mbeki, please, I want to talk to you. So Oshkosh leaves. And so he says, we are going to arrest the Zambians who are drug dealers. Now, we want you to get Oshkosh out of Zambia very quickly, so that by the time we come to arrest him, he's not here. Because we don't want to embarrass the ANC. And indeed, that's what happened. Another story, a sad story. There was the Prime Minister of Tanzania. His name was Sokoine. Prime Minister Sokoine was driving in a convoy in an area of Tanzania where there were a lot of our people. And one of our drivers knocked Premier Sokoine's car and killed him. He died. So you can imagine we're sitting in Lusaka and the news comes, and I don't know what the Tanzanians did, but we were all of us so scared that Sokoine is very popular. Is to turn the whole country against the ANC. It didn't. It didn't. They handled it in such a way that you couldn't sense that there was any a sense of hate from the Tanzanians towards ourselves. I'm talking about a particular kind of relationship that we had with the rest of the continent. Guinea-Conakry, during the time of Sékou Touré, they taught South African liberation struggle from school to university. If anybody wanted to know anybody on the continent who knew anything about the struggle in South Africa, the ANC, this and that and the other, what battles and so on, the Guineans. Not so much that they should have the knowledge, but they should support the struggle that was taking place here. So when I first went to Guinea, long after Sékou Touré had died, the president complained to me. He said, you know, you people got your liberation in 94. And President Mandela has been visiting many African countries and overflies Conakry. You've done the same thing. You overfly Conakry. And yet, these are these people. We were, Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma was foreign minister. So she decides to go window shopping in Conakry, and she goes into a jewelry shop.
But no conversation about African unity
And
can
she's
avoid.
looking, she was just window shopping. And the shopkeeper says, Madam, just choose which one do you prefer there, which one do you think is the best for you? No, I'm window. No, I know you're window shopping. Just have a look. So she does. She says this one. The shopkeeper takes it out, wraps it up, and gives it to her. So she says, no, but I'm not buying anything. She says, I'm not selling it to you. I'm giving it to you. Are you not the foreign minister of South Africa? Yes, I am. This is for us from the people of Guinea. You see, what I'm trying to tell is a particular story of a relationship that we had with the African continent.
State Affairs with Edmondo Bilo is live.
That's Thabo Mbeki there, a former president of South Africa. The last edition of State Affairs, that was on Thursday, we treated Afrophobia. If you missed that edition, I implore you to go listen to it. What we did with that edition was to break down the subject of Afrophobia, looking at countries in Africa that did so well as to contribute to the liberation of the South African. We went into history, look at the contribution of countries like Nigeria, Algeria, and the frontline states. In that edition of State Affairs, we remind everyone that South Africa is on edge. Remember the June 30 deadline issued by vigilante groups for documented African migrants to leave South Africa. That ultimatum has expired. Thousands have already fled South Africa. Shops are closed. Families are sleeping at police stations. They are too scared to go home. In the past few weeks alone, some persons have been killed, and countless others have been chased from their homes, their stores looted, their belongings burned. It is Africans chasing Africans. It is organized, but this is a time when all Africans must ask themselves, what makes us Africans? Is it the borders? Is it the papers? And why is it hard for Africans to be given legal status in African states? Why is this such a problem? Why is this such a headache? Why is it such a problem for Africans to get legal status in other African states? It is apparent that it is easier for Africans to get legal status in Europe than in African countries. Why?
Experience. I've had
It is Splash 105.5 FM, the Integrity Station. The program is State Affairs. I implore you to listen to my Thursday edition of State Affairs. Go on my YouTube channel, listen to my Thursday edition of State Affairs. You know I run State Affairs during the week at night on my social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, X. On Thursday, we treated the subject Afrophobia. South Africa expels Africans. Listen to that edition. You'll find it on my YouTube channel on the live section of the YouTube channel, the live section. Why are Africans harsh towards Africans? Why is it easier for Africans in Europe and America to get legal status than Africans in Africa getting legal status in African countries? Why? Why is this so hard for African states to give legal status to other Africans in their country? Why? I'm wondering why. Why African states don't want to grant African migrants legal status? Why is it so hard? How do you tell a Ghanaian, a Nigerian that has lived in South Africa for 20 years to go home? Where is home? Somebody that has lived somewhere for 20 years. Where else can be that person's home? I'm still wondering why African states don't want to grant legal status to Africans. Why is this so hard? I cannot understand why I should apply for a South African visa to go to South Africa. I can't understand it. I have refused to understand it. That is why on Thursday, I went to look at Nigeria's contribution to the fight against apartheid. We can't make that kind of contribution and we'll be treated the way we are being treated anywhere in Africa. It's unacceptable. I refuse it. That after the huge contribution Nigeria made to South Africa in the fight against apartheid, that Nigeria fights for legal status in South Africa? I thought contribution meant right. So we made those contributions for what? That I need to go to a South African embassy to apply for visa to go to South Africa after those contributions and pay for visa? I also don't understand why the South African has to apply for visa to come to Nigeria. So why are African countries so tough with this visa thing? How? I don't get it. What is it? Why is it that when a Ghanaian sees a Nigerian in Ghana, he's angry? Why? And you see, it has filtered into the states. Igbo, Yoruba, Hausa, Fulani. Why are we so uptight against each other? Why? Why? What are we defending? It's our land. Do you know that Chinese are buying up lands in Yoruba land? That Chinese are buying up land in Mozambique, in Malawi? The land you are saying is mine. They are buying them. You don't know what's going on? It is a global world. They can't wait for you if you can't develop your country. Watch, they will come in and develop it for you and you will pay them. You are saying, oh, it's our land, it's our country. Chinese should not come. America, they are very powerful. They will come. They will take it from you. You can't develop it. You have failed. Your leaders have failed. They will come in and take the land. And when they take your land, they take you. You think the world is waiting for you? If you can't develop it, they will come in and take it. They've colonized you before. It's not a big deal. They can come in again. There is the scramble for Africa. It is going on. It hasn't stopped. Be there. Be playing politics of poverty. They will take your land from you. They will colonize you again. You think they will wait for you to develop? If you can't develop it, they will come in and they will develop it and then give you the terms because they are powerful. They have the instrument to break into you since you have refused to rise. And African Brotherhood is keen to the development of Africa. African Brotherhood. If I have the chance, hopefully, if you are a Ghanaian living in Nigeria, you have lived up to 10 years, I will grant you citizenship. I will. You are, as long as you are, and if you come to commit crime, we'll lock you up, put you in prison. There's no big deal about that. If you are a Malawian and you are living in Nigeria, pray for my time. I will grant you citizenship. You're my brother. You come and help develop the land. I will give Chinese people citizenship. I will. They will contribute their quota to developing it. It is clear that we can't develop our land. We will bring them in. We will give Chinese Nigerian citizenship as far as they are contributing to the state. We will not be uptight in our time. If we see a Chinese man that is brilliant, has all the intensity, we'll bring them into our university. They will come and teach. We'll learn from them. We'll give them citizenship. What's the big deal? You give them land. Africans have not shown capacity. So we'll bring in people who have capacity. Perhaps they will trigger us to fix our land. By the way, America grants you citizenship. Our Nigerian professors are in American universities. They have green card. They are citizens of America. They know the value. So if I see a Malawian that is so brilliant, that can help me tweak something and will build an aeroplane, I'll go and bring him in. We'll put him there and give him citizenship. He becomes a Nigerian, an African, purely. And is contributing to economic development. That is nation building. That is the way I'm thinking. I don't know how you are thinking. How are you thinking? So listen to that Thursday edition of Afrophobia. It's on my YouTube channel. And you see the point I'm making. We went deep looking at the contribution of Nigeria to South Africa, the contribution of Algeria to the liberation of South Africa. We looked at the contribution of the frontline states to South Africa. It's an edition you should listen to, and I'm advising that you should listen to it. I have raised some points. Can you engage those points? Can you engage those points? So the number to call is 080 999 18449. That's the number to call. 080 999 18449. That's the WhatsApp number to call. If you want to join the discourse, I have raised some points. Good morning.
Good morning.
I can hear you. Good morning.
Can you hear me?
You want me to put you on in that noisy environment? No, I won't do that. I have to cut the call. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Radio man, good morning.
Thank you.
Yeah, what a beautiful point you made this morning about nations building. It's quite unfortunate that we're in a country where our leaders are not particular about nation building, but they are about building their pockets. Hello, are you with me?
I'm with you.
All right. Yeah. So I really wish that our leaders are paying attention to a program like this, because when you look at situations and news popping up, you'll be this. In fact, you'll be shocked to hear some certain news spread out. This week, I was reading about a particular son, an attorney general of the nation, acquiring so much properties worth billions of nairas. And I'm telling myself, These are people's futures. These are generations' wealth meant to develop and build the nation. And this honestly resonates with what we are talking about this morning. Are they actually after building the nation or building their pockets? So it's quite unfortunate. I really wish that there can be a kind of, orientation, seminar, or what have you, for all these leaders before going into power per se. Let them be able to understand why they are going there. Let there be a kind of, I don't know how to put it now, a kind of orientation for them to understand the purpose of leadership. Leadership is not about enriching themselves, it's about actually developing the nation. Yeah, I'm Akinola calling from Ogun State. Thank you for a job well done.
Thank you, Mr. Akinola. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. How are you?
I'm fine.
I'm calling from State. Looking for a job well done. Thank you.
He's trying to use his radio to monitor. Hello, good morning.
Yeah, Edmund, good morning. How are you today?
I'm
so
fine.
my name is Charles. Okay, so thank you for bringing up this topic this morning. And I just want to let you know that just like the last speaker said, the set of leadership that we have in Nigeria, probably in some parts of Africa, they are not building the nation. But I can say for fact that they are milking the nation. Milking the nation, and they want to milk us dry. Because their succession planning is part of milking the nation. Jumping from governorship to Senate, or jumping from one councillor to House of Rep, and from there, if they are lucky, they are appointed as ministers because they have been able to wash the elders' hands, and they bring in, when they see that they have exhausted all vacant positions, they begin to tutor and nurture their children, or until. But I think I don't know. Maybe what happened in Ghana some years ago under Charles Rawlings is what personally I would have proposed. But I'm not the kind of person that believes in jungle justice. But I believe that there is no amount of orientation, just like the last speaker said, we have that will conscientize this set of leaders until these guys leave power and we start seeing new blood, new system running the ecosystem. That is when I believe our nation will actually be. And to buttress your point before I leave on making other nationals come to our space to build our nations for us. If that is going to be what is going to happen, then let it be. So I really, really concur with your position, Edmund. Thank you for everything you'll be doing. We'll keep listening. We'll keep ideating until Nigeria gets better. Thank you, Edmund, and have a nice day.
Thank you. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Your name and where you're calling from?
Thank you for all you do, Radio Man. My name is Dr. I know many callers would say it's our leaders, our. The question I want every one of us to ask ourselves is, these leaders, where do they go? Are they not our family members, friends, colleagues, sisters, brothers? When they are perpetrating all this evil, and we know that they are not competent, what do we do? Once we have crumpets given to us by them, we help them to perpetrate all these evils, then we don't have, any leg to stand to accuse them, because we, one way or the other, allow them to do it. So as much as we blame the leaders, we need to look inward and blame ourselves. Thank you for all you do.
Thank you for calling the radio station. Nation building. Yeah, I want us to philosophize. You are my guest on this edition. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Oluwafemi Egbewole. I am calling from Oyo State, Ibadan, precisely Akoko. I sincerely thank you for the topic brought up this morning concerning Nigeria and Africa as a whole. So I want to say something. I stand to be corrected that the development of any society rests solely more on the leadership. If we want a better society, a group or something, the leaders.
Hello, Oluwafemi. It's network. I'm waiting for him. He will come back. I can see the struggle here.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Hello.
I can hear you.
Hello, Edmond.
I can hear you. All right. Let's take another call. Hello, good morning. All right, let's take this call. Hello.
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning.
This is Dio on the line.
Good to hear your voice.
Yeah. Can you hear me? Okay, can I go on? So, yeah. The topic today is about nation building. And you see, the problem with nation building in Nigeria right now is because there is no sense of ownership. It is something that belongs to you that you are going to be thinking of building and developing. Nigeria is so polarized at this point in time, whereby everybody just wants to grab what they can grab and go. You will see people from the north saying, oh, let's kick out these people. Let's take it from them. People from the west will say, no, it's our turn. We'll have to run it now. The people from the east will say, we have been marginalized for so long. Give it to us now. So at the end of the day, when they get there, the aim will just be to take what they can take and go. There is really no sense of ownership. And so that motivation to actually build the nation is not there. It's like somebody, when you see somebody driving a car anyhow, sometimes you will suspect and say, if we find out the way this person is driving this car, that car does not belong to him. Because if the car belongs to him, there's a way you would take care of that car so that it does not develop fault, right? So this is the way our leaders are running the country. And the solution to that is we have to, first of all, restructure the country into units whereby there will be sense of ownership. Everybody will be fighting to actually develop their region. Now, when you now aggregate the development of each region, that is what will now, become the building of a nation on its own. When you look at our colonial master, UK, when you look at, there are nations within a nation. So the system they are running, that is the way we are supposed to run our system too, whereby the Scottish are there, they are doing their own thing, the Irish people are there, the Welsh are there, the English people are there, then they now have United Kingdom. This is what our leaders should begin to think about. We need to restructure the country. When you look at China, they also have their autonomous region. When you look at United Arab Emirates, sometimes you look at Dubai, you think it's one country. But Dubai is like also a region within a nation, which is the United Arab Emirates.
They also have other regions like Sharjah, they have Abu Dhabi. This is a way whereby a nation can develop as quickly as possible because the people in these regions will have that sense of ownership and they will fight to develop their region. So that is my take today. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I enjoyed your take. Hello, good morning. Good morning. Hello.
Yes. So concerning the blockage, or will I say, non-movement, the restriction of movement of Africans to African countries, especially what is happening in South Africa. It's quite unfortunate one. I think yesterday there was a report about the death of a popular Congolese boxer who was set ablaze alive. That's a national figure in Congo, a national figure, probably national hero, but set ablaze. He has been in South Africa for over 20 years. And that was how he was killed, you know. Now, but I have an exception. I don't know, because I know that when Buhari was in power, he asked the late Buhari, may so rest in peace, he asked his kinsmen all over Africa to also come to Nigeria. And that singular decision is what has put us into the mess we are in. I'm just trying to see if the analogy will work. Because if there are no restrictions, so to say, won't people take freedom for granted? Or it has to do with how responsible the citizens are going to another country. Nigerians have worked tirelessly to also contribute to the development of South Africa. But I know sometimes they are accused of one or two things, you know. So I feel the sense of responsibility should also come because that decision that was made then, we have not escaped from it now. And that's part of what has caused insecurity in Nigeria today. Even Bala Mohammed, the state governor, also, you know, from what you played from history, there's a time you played it and we heard him say that they have to come, that is their home. Nothing is wrong with that, but it has led us to this. That's what, by the way. Then secondly, bad leadership. Edward Bilo, there's absolutely nothing we can do about that's for every country they have their cross. That's our cross. Bad leadership. We have everything we need, but we have bad leadership. The leadership you talked about leadership transformation from the youth, from the grassroots. We're not practicing that. And someone said, these are people from our homes. These are uncles, our aunties, our fathers. I mean, so in other words, what are they teaching the children who are meant to carry on from there? They are teaching us the wrong style of leadership. That we have to get there and siphon the money, grab it. So we still need to work at the grassroots. Someone will have to take that up and introduce a better and new style of leadership that comes with selflessness. Yes, service to humanity. Until we get there, even the generation coming after me, after us, they will continue to have this kind of mindset, and the country will still be on a standstill. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Hello, good morning. Hello.
Yeah. Number one, thank you for the good job. Edmond, if I will start like this, I want to begin like leadership does not trust the followership, and the followership, as a matter of reality, have lost trust in the leadership. Edmond, we are in this country. When the Niger Delta boys were trying to do something about the crude, either they get it legally or illegally in the creek, to develop, to build up, or to produce their own oil. Our government, instead of sitting these guys down, learn what they have learned, develop what they have learned, and grow it to build our refinery and our oil on our own as a Nigerian build. What do? We go there, we destroy it, we pull it down, we kill them. Now, so how do you want me to trust the government if I am coming up with a new development of things that my government is going to support me? Now, your guy, I am not a fan of your guy. Sheyi Makinde, I'm not a fan of your guy. Your guy, something happened in your state. And he said, this thing, it looks strange. I want United Nations to come into it and investigate it. The same leadership, the same group of party who want the military in US to come to Nigeria to come and help us about the terrorism going on there. And now the same people saying, why will Sheyi Makinde be calling on UN, but they can call on US to come and assist? So when leadership does not trust the followership on what they can do to develop their country, this is exactly what we will see in Nigeria. Go through all the country, you will see the hand of government helping their citizens to grow in whatever they want to grow, either technology, either hardware, either anything. Government assists their citizenship. But in my own country, my own fatherland, they will destroy them. Government will kill them. Government will destroy the plan of other citizens. And so if citizens today does not trust the government, what do you expect me to do? So when somebody is now talking, one of your guests was talking saying it is the thing boils down to followership. There is nowhere where followership dictates to how a country grow if the leadership have not built an enabling environment. It is an enabling environment that allows citizens to grow. So if we don't have that enabling environment, the same thing is what we are going to see in Nigeria as of today. So until our leadership start to help the followership to grow in whatever they want to grow, we will remain like this. It's just not. It was just last year or this year. Tinubu take our tax to France. What Nigeria can do, just ordinary tax, so the tax of our country, he took it to France. So these are the things when you give our natural resources to the outsider. There is nothing the followership can do. Except the followership decided to stand and say and started to say.
Thank you. Thank you. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good to hear your voice.
I want to congratulate you on this very particular topic you bring to the class this morning. Nigeria is a great country, but some of those things we are seeing now, Edmond, I want to, going through the Quran one day, I saw a verse which I think talking about Nigeria. That is Quran 16, verse 112. It says, Allah gave the example of a town that was peaceful and tranquil. Their provisions came to them in abundance from every avenue, but they were ungrateful for Allah's bounty. So, because of their actions, Allah caused them to taste the garment of hunger and thirst. Mr. Edmond, if you see this verse, God gave us everything in Nigeria, even the land, the mineral resources, everything. But we did not obey God. That is why we don't obey our own law in Nigeria. God gave us a law. Don't do what you cannot do to your other, to yourself. Now, everything God said we should not, we follow. See our leader. The money is supposed to be given to the public to use for benefit. They use it for themselves. Now, you can see somebody having billions of naira in his account, doing nothing. Is that what God said he should do with the money? By every avenue that is not good, that God says we should not do, we all continue to do it. And using this opportunity to challenge our religious leaders, instead of preaching prosperity to us, to tell us what God said we should do to make our life better. If we do all this, I think Nigeria will be better. Right now, everybody wants something for ourselves. I want my children to go to school. I don't mind other children. I want to build a house. I don't order my people. I want to buy a car. I don't want other people make me check it. This is what is our problem in Nigeria. May God help you. I appreciate what you are doing for this country. God will surely reward you. Thank you, Mr. Edmond.
Thank you for calling. Thank you. The mightiest project of nation building is the project of character building. The mightiest project of nation building is the project of character building. That is the mightiest project. Always take note. Character building, it must be deliberate. Let me make this point again. In our time, if you are a migrant living in Nigeria and you are contributing to economic development, and we can see it in your businesses, in your innovation, we will grant you Nigerian citizenship. You'll be able to vote because you are contributing to the economy. Take note. If you are a migrant living in Nigeria in our time, and you are contributing to economic development, we will grant you citizenship. We will grant you the support to contribute more. Your children will become Nigerians, and you will help us build the land to one of the most advanced countries in the world. That is our dream. If you are a Chinese studying science, can you build aeroplanes? We want to build aeroplanes. Come, in our time, come, we will grant you citizenship. We want to tap into your brain. We want to build aeroplanes. We want to be one of the most advanced countries in the world. And we can do it with you. Are you an American? You can help us build this land. Come. We will grant you legal status. You will share from the resources. Your economic ideas will help lift our people out of poverty. You become our people. We will protect you. We will give you utmost security. We want our land to be advanced like China, South Korea, Singapore. We want to compete at the top level. We want to lift Africa out of poverty. And if you bring crime into the system, we'll get you down. You can't operate here. As you contribute, we'll contribute. A nation built upon the bedrock of citizen integrity attracts trust and investment. A nation built upon the bedrock of citizen integrity attracts trust and investment. A culture rooted in diligent work generates innovation and abundance. A society bound by mutual respect and compassion creates stability and social cohesion. Take note, take note. A nation built upon the bedrock of citizen integrity attracts trust and investment. A culture rooted in diligent work ethic generates innovation and abundance. A society bound for mutual respect and compassion creates stability and social cohesion. These are not soft ideals. These are the hard pillars of a progressive state. Without them, we have neither strength, stability, nor substantial reality, but only ephemeral dreams. These are not soft ideals. They are the hard pillars of a strong state. Without them, we have neither strength, stability, nor substantial reality, but ephemeral dreams. Economic bubbles burst. Political alliance shift, but the character of a people endures. The program is State Affairs on Splash 105.5 FM, the Integrity Station. I am Edmondo Billo. Stay tuned, stay cool.
State Affairs with Edmondo Billo is live.
But no, the great contemporary architects of Pan-Africanism. But no conversation about African unity can avoid the question of solidarity. Because solidarity is ultimately the moral foundation upon which Pan-Africanism rests. African unity cannot be sustained merely through treaties, summits, or diplomatic declarations. It must be rooted in a shared emotional and historical consciousness, a recognition that the destiny of African peoples remains interconnected. The great contemporary architects of Pan-Africanism understood this very clearly. great leaders such as Kwame Nkrumah, Julius Nyerere, Patrice Lumumba, Nelson Mandela, and if I dare say so, Thabo Mbeki, to cite a few of them. Understood it, and their legacy has consistently reminded us that Africa's future depends not only on economic cooperation, but also, quite importantly, on the cultivation of a deeper continental consciousness. Pan-Africanism was never simply about political coordination among states. It was fundamentally a moral project. A project grounded in the belief that the dignity of one African is tied to the dignity of all Africans. And that is why we must confront honestly and courageously the troubling rise of Afrophobia and xenophobia. Within parts of our continent, including here in South Africa. Let me speak carefully but candidly, because I'm a Nigerian. South Africa's liberation was not won by South Africans alone. Thankfully, President Mbeki recently reminded us of that solemn truth. The anti-apartheid struggle became a continental responsibility. Across Africa, nations and citizens made sacrifices in support of South Africa's freedom. African countries offered sanctuary to exiles and liberation movements. As a young university student in Nigeria in the early 1980s, I and several of my colleagues gained our Pan-African consciousness working at the ANC and SWAPO offices in Kefi, Lagos. Under the tutelage of President Mbeki, then our chief representative of ANC, and later Comrade Mark Shope and Comrade Victor Matlow, successive chief representatives, and also Comrade Kampala and Herman Ichete, chief representatives of SWAPO in Nigeria at the time. African workers and taxpayers contributed resources to support the liberation effort. African intellectuals mobilized international solidarity. African leaders paid diplomatic and economic cost in confronting apartheid. Nigeria, among many others, stood firmly in support of South Africa's liberation. But this was not charity. It was solidarity. It was an understanding that oppression anywhere in Africa threatened dignity everywhere in Africa. This shared history matters profoundly. And that is why violence or hostility directed at fellow Africans anywhere on the continent must concern us deeply. Afrophobia is not merely a law enforcement issue or a question of migration policy. It represents a crisis of continental consciousness that negates the continental renaissance that we all seek. But at the same time, we must approach this issue with maturity and honesty. Xenophobia does not emerge in a social vacuum. It is often fueled by economic inequality, unemployment, weak governance, poor service delivery, political manipulation, and institutional distrust. I do not minimize the genuine hardship that produce such desperate reasonings. Youth unemployment is not a statistic. It is a daily humiliation. And when institutions fail to provide relief, communities will sometimes violently seek to define the boundary of who belongs to where. Ghanaians did it in 1969 when the Busia government sent Nigerians packing. Nigeria retaliated in 1979 and 1981 when the Shagari government sent Ghanaians back home in the Ghana Must Go episode. In societies where citizens feel economically insecure, frustration can easily be redirected towards the most vulnerable groups. But that understanding is not exoneration. Whilst we must acknowledge these pressures, which are largely the inheritance of apartheid structural deformations, we must never legitimize violence or exclusion against fellow Africans. If Africans cannot coexist peacefully with one another, then the dream of continental integration will remain fundamentally weakened. The African Continental Free Trade Area cannot flourish in an atmosphere of mutual suspicion. Regional integration cannot deepen where fear and hostility dominate public life. Africa, therefore, requires a renewed ethos of continental citizenship that emphasizes that sovereignty is not in conflict with solidarity. We must teach younger generations that being proudly Nigerian, South African, Kenyan, Ghanaian, or Senegalese is entirely compatible with being proudly African.
It is Splash 105.5 FM, the Integrity Station. The program is State Affairs. I am Edmund Obilo. I want to read from the book, The State of Africa, by Martin Meredith. The State of Africa, a history of the continent since independence. Martin Meredith says on page 212 that when drought and famine overtook the province of Wolo in 1973, claiming the lives of tens of thousands of peasants, the government, though aware of the disaster, made little attempt to alleviate it. This is the story of Ethiopia, the story of Emperor Haile Selassie. Haile Selassie, the emperor that governed Ethiopia, that monarch, the one sent by God, the conquering lion of the tribe of Judah. Haile Selassie. In this book, Martin Meredith says that Haile Selassie reached the age of 80 in July 1972, having had absolute power for longer than any other figure in contemporary history, still addicted to pop, protocol, and a system of personal rule that was no longer a viable method of government. Are you there? Martin Meredith says at 80 in 1972, Haile Selassie, having had absolute power for longer than any other figure in contemporary history, was still addicted to pomp, protocol, and a system of personal rule that was no longer viable. Now he comes to this point. So when drought and famine overtook the province of Wolo in 1973, claiming the lives of tens of thousands of peasants, the Selassie government, though aware of the disaster, made little attempt to alleviate it, nor did it seek help from international agencies for fear of damaging the country's reputation. The author continues, when Haile Selassie belatedly paid a visit to the area, he merely referred to the natural disasters beyond human control that had often afflicted Ethiopia and implied that little could be done to prevent it. Have you read about drought in Ethiopia in the 1970s? If you are online, you can Google it. You can see the pictures. Drought in Ethiopia, in an African country where the leader had lions that ate full goats every day. That is Haile Selassie. Emperor Haile Selassie was in charge. Google Ethiopian drought. Read about it. Haile Selassie was in charge of Ethiopia. Haile Selassie had governed Ethiopia over time. Ethiopia was the only African country that was a member of the League of Nations at its creation. Ethiopia was not colonized. Italy only occupied Ethiopia for some time, and Haile Selassie went round the world campaigning against Italy, and Ethiopia fought back and regained her independence. That was a period of about 6 years, that occupation, during the era of the Second World War. Ethiopia was a member of the United Nations at its creation, that World War era. Despite that level of international participation, Haile Selassie forgot his people and they died of hunger in their number. Martin Meredith in the book The State of Africa said, when Haile Selassie belatedly paid a visit to the area, he merely referred to the natural disasters beyond human control that had often afflicted Ethiopia and implied that little could be done to prevent them. The government's inertia over the Wollo famine caused a wave of exasperation among the educated Ethiopian elite. But there were no signs of overt opposition to the emperor's rule other than among student groups who were habitually troublesome. Then, in early 1974, a few small and random incidents occurred that were eventually to culminate in revolution. On the 12th of January, enlisted men at an army outpost in Negel in southern Ethiopia mutinied against their officers in protest against poor food and a shortage of water. These are soldiers protesting now against poor food. The soldiers' water pump had broken down when officers refused to allow them the use of their own well. They were imprisoned. The mutineers sent a petition to the emperor asking for their grievances to be redressed. Haile Selassie responded by sending an army general as his personal envoy to investigate the matter. But the general was detained. But he too was detained. Despite the insubordination, Despite the insubordination, Haile Selassie promised an improvement in the mutineers' conditions and decided against any punishment. News of the Negel mutiny spread through the army's network to every unit in the country. On the 10th of February, airmen at an Air Force base near Addis Ababa staged a similar revolt, holding officers hostage in protest against pay and conditions. Again, Haile Selassie tried to deal with the mutiny by promising salary increases. On 25th February, a more serious revolt broke out in Asmara, the capital of Eritrea, led by a group of 7 middle-aged sergeants and corporals. Mutineers took control of the radio station and broadcast demands for more pay and improved conditions of service. You see, all this happened while Emperor Haile Selassie was loafing around as the man in power. See, if you turn to page 214 of the book, the author says within the armed forces, however, a group of radical junior officers conspired to take control. Meeting at 4th Division headquarters in Addis Ababa at the end of June, they formed a military committee comprising 108 representatives chosen by units of the armed forces to run the country. For many months, the committee remained a shadowy organization. None of the names of its members was announced, and its activities were kept hidden from the public. You see, when they took on Haile Selassie, when those radical soldiers struck, Ethiopia almost collapsed. You know that emperor was treated like a dog when those radical officers captured him. He was treated like Ethiopians who had gone through drought and suffered. Why did I remember this story? It is the master storyteller, the master filmmaker, that reminded me of this story. I'm talking about Tunde Kelani of Mainframe Production. In the 1970s, Tunde Kelani covered Ethiopia on behalf of international organizations as a cameraman. He was in Ethiopia during the drought. Tunde Kelani paints the picture of what he saw as a cameraman. That picture tells you about the evil of poor leadership. It tells you about the pain of poor leadership. Poor leadership is a crime against humanity. Tunde Kelani, the master filmmaker, tells a story here. You were in Ethiopia. Did you cover the drought?
The drought with Victor Volivi before he passed on.
What did you see?
You know, the drought in Wolof was hidden because Emperor Haile Selassie concealed it from the whole world. And we had to travel to this area where the people were so weak that hyenas came in and carried them off. In the morning, in some of the villages, people bring malnourished people out to just put them in the sun for some heat before they return them into the house. And in contrast, Haile Selassie was so rich and powerful, he had lions. And while the country went hungry, each morning they carried a bowl with meat which he throws to his lions. So it was a story, another story entirely. Of course, he was toppled. They showed a documentary, The Hidden Hunger, before they went for him the following day. And if you saw the documentary, you will weep. Anyway, that's what we went for, to see the drought at first hand.
Were your hands shaking when you were with the camera?
I know. The camera is at that point an extension of your body. You understand? And these were not smartphones. These are heavy duty cameras. The heavier the stadium. At the point when you are getting the story, you are oblivious to what's going on around you. That's what you are doing matters most.
You saw Africa nakedly.
Dying.
Africa dying.
Yes.
In Ethiopia.
Hungry and dying, unknown to the world.
And you captured the pictures.
Of course, we did the documentary.
And the world saw the pictures.
Well, at least this part of Nigeria is already in the press all over the world. But we had to show the story here.
State Affairs with Edmondo Bilo is live.
Tunde Kelani, the master filmmaker, describing what he saw in Ethiopia during the drought under Haile Selassie. We are reading the book, The State of Africa, A History of the Continent Since Independence. You can find this book on udarabooks.com. The author on page 216 says, early the following morning, that is the 12th of September, 3 officers from the committee, also called the Derg, dressed in combat uniforms, entered the chamber where Haile Selassie awaited them. After a preliminary bow, one of them read out the proclamation dethroning him as the emperor. The proclamation charged that Haile Selassie had not only left the country in its present crisis by abusing at various times the high and dignified authority conferred on him by the Ethiopian people, but also, being over 82 years of age, and due to the consequent physical and mental exhaustion, is no more able to shoulder the high responsibilities of leadership. Standing before them, Haile Selassie listened impassively, then replied that if the revolution was good for the people, then he too supported it and would not oppose his dethronement as the emperor. In that case, said a major, His Majesty will please follow us. Whereto Haile Selassie asked. The radical soldiers told him, follow us to a safe place. His Majesty will see. A green Volkswagen was waiting for them in the palace driveway. The driver, an officer, opened the door and held up the front seat so that Haile Selassie could get in the back. Huddled in the back seat, he was driven through the empty streets of Addis Ababa, where a night curfew was in force, and disappeared through the gates of 4th Division Barracks. Haile Selassie spent the last month of his life imprisoned in rooms in the Grand Palace. He continued to get up at dawn, attended morning mass, and spent much time reading. In a building nearby, members of the Derg met to maintain their grip on power, having overthrown him. What had hitherto been a revolution without bloodshed turned increasingly violent. On the 23rd of November, the Derg ordered the execution of some 60 prominent prisoners, mostly high officials associated with Haile Selassie's regime, including 2 former prime ministers and the emperor's grandson. A caller said this morning that he would have preferred what happened in Ghana. Jerry Rawlings taking out former Ghana's leaders in the Jerry Rawlings revolution. The point is that it was also happening at the same time in Ethiopia. Emperor Haile Selassie had been overthrown, arrested by the radical soldiers. On the 23rd of November, the Derg ordered the execution of some 60 prominent prisoners, mostly high officials associated with Haile Selassie's regime, including 2 former prime ministers and the emperor's grandson. The key figure behind this decision was a young ordnance officer called Major Mengistus Haile Mariam. Does that remind you of Major Kaduna Nzogu? The one controlling in Ethiopia was Major Mengistus Haile Mariam. These were junior officers. Like Jerry Rawlings was a junior officer in Ghana. Like Nzogu in Nigeria. Major Mengistus Haile Mariam. But he also had to meet his own Waterloo at some point. Haile Selassie died a prisoner on the 27th of August, 1975. According to the Derg, the cause of his death was circulatory failure. According to his followers, he was smothered with a wet pillow. His body was buried beneath a lavatory in the palace, remaining hidden there for 16 years while the revolution raged on. He was buried in a lavatory, in a toilet. The emperor that shook the world. The Ethiopian drought should not have happened if Haile Selassie was responsible. He started well as an African leader, but he ended badly. He didn't know when to step down. He felt he controlled everything. So as poor governance builds up, you build new radical citizens. As poor governance builds up, you build radical citizens. You cannot predict what they can do. It happens in every sphere, in the army, in the police. There are radical ones who are thinking in different ways. In the universities, you build radical professors, radical students. In the forest, you build radical bandits, terrorists, and you build chaos. Ethiopia became chaotic. Ghana became chaotic. But despite these revolutions, Africa has not advanced. Africa is not competing at the top level. Something must be wrong somewhere. Let's listen to Tunde Kelani again, telling us the drought story. Did you cover the drought?
The drought with Victor Volivi before he passed on.
What did you see?
the drought in Wolof was hidden because Emperor Haile Selassie concealed it from the whole world. And we had to travel to this area where...
You were in Ethiopia. Did you cover the drought?
The drought with Victor Volivi before he passed on.
What did you see?
You know, the drought in Wolof was hidden because Emperor Haile Selassie concealed it from the whole world. And we had to travel to this area where the people were so weak that hyenas came in and carried them off. In the morning, in some of the villages, people bring malnourished people out to just put them in the sun for some heat before they return them into the house. And in contrast, Haile Selassie was so rich and powerful, he had lions. And while the country went hungry, each morning they carried a bowl with meat which he throws to his lions. So it was a story, it was another story entirely. Of course, he was toppled. They showed a documentary, The Hidden Hunger, before they went for him the following day. And if you saw the documentary, you will weep. Anyway, that's what we went for, to see the drought at first hand.
Were your hands shaking when you were with the camera?
I know. You part, the camera is at that point an extension of your body. You understand? And these were not smartphones. These are heavy duty cameras. The heavier the stadium. At the point when you are getting the story, you are oblivious to what's going on around you. That the story, that's what you are doing matters most.
You saw Africa nakedly.
Dying.
Africa dying.
Yes.
In Ethiopia.
Hungry and dying, unknown to the world.
And you captured the pictures.
Of course, we did the documentary.
And the world saw the pictures.
Well, at least this part of Nigeria is already in the press all over the world. But we had to show the story here.
State Affairs with Edmondo Bilo is live.
I can see Oladele Idowu Joseph on Facebook. Oladele Idowu Joseph, good to see you here on Facebook this morning. He says, "Good morning, Radio Man. Are you talking about the same Haile Selassie, the God and Lord of the Jamaican Rastafarians?" Yes, that's the man I'm talking about. Nzumbiala Mendiala Nebusa Negas. He started well. Yes, he's the one. Remember, State Affairs now runs 4 times in a week. Tomorrow, 9 p.m., that is Sunday. Tuesday, 9 p.m. Thursday, 9 p.m. Then Saturday morning, 8 a.m. Soon, I'll be treating Haile Selassie. I'll be taking you into the life of Haile Selassie. I want to do examination of the lives and time of some African leaders. So you would do well to join me on any of these editions. Sundays, 9 p.m. Nigerian time. Tuesdays 9 p.m. Nigerian time, Thursday 9 p.m. Nigerian time, and Tuesday 8 a.m. on Splash 105.5 FM, the Integrity Station. It is Haile Selassie. Babatunde Aremu, I can see you. Good morning. Uzofab, good morning to you. Afolabi Uyeyemi, we cannot see your face this morning. Yes, Radio Man. Yes, you can see my face this morning. On Saturdays, I don't use video. But Sundays, sometimes video. But on Saturday morning, I don't like coming on video. Because it's more complicated than the other editions. Because I need to be relating with the studio. I need to be calling, connecting, speaking with Bosun, speaking with Shola. That would not be too good for video. But on Sundays, Tuesdays nights, Thursday, I don't need to speak with anybody. So I am the studio. But on Saturday morning, the studio is 2. 1 in Ibadan and 1 in my location. So that is why I don't do videos on Saturday morning. Okay. You can send in your message. Make your message simple. Edit it before you send. When you want to type a message, read it first. Read it, edit it, so that it's easier for me to read. Because sometimes I am struggling editing what you have sent while I'm reading it. I don't enjoy that anymore. I made the point that I don't read messages as much anymore because I struggle to read them because I'm editing while I'm reading them. So edit it for me. Make it simple, space it so that it is easy to read. And don't make it too long. George, I can see you here. Good morning. You said long time, but I've been around. Where have you been? Prince Sikiru Giwa says Nigeria's protracted problems need restructuring and commitment from our leaders. I can see you at Deboe Sunday. Good morning to you. Aziz Jimo says this culture of mental and physical laziness is in the blood of Nigerians, and until we adopt the LQY of Singapore laws, Nigeria, choose your words well. No. Don't use such words for us. Dignify us to some extent. We deserve some dignity. So you address us properly. We are citizens of a great nation that is struggling. But we are coming. We are coming. We are going to come like a sea wave. But we will bring in peace and security, science and innovation. You will see the kind of universities that will come. You will see the kind of public primary schools that will come. You will love it. Don't worry. We are coming. We will build aeroplanes and we will fly so high. We are coming. I'm not talking about in another generation. We are here. The beautiful ones have been born. Are you on X? Let me see who is on X. Are you on X? Are you saying hello to the radio man on X? Come meet me on X. I'm on X at the moment. Let me see. You can leave your comments. I saw Christian. Ayo and Christian. Christian Gray. Christian Gray is on X. Naimeka Samuel. Naimeka Samuel just followed the radio man on X. Naimeka, thank you for following. How do you do? Naimeka Samuel. That's my cousin's name. Naimeka. Whiskillers. Whiskillers. Whiskillers is always there. That's my guy, Ayo Ashimolo. Whiskillers. Whiskillers. Whiskillers themes. That's my guy. Optimal. Alright, I can see Sadiq Olalere on my page. On X. Yeah, I can see my YouTube guys. They're always there. YouTube, greetings. My guys on YouTube. Always there. I can just go to sleep and say there are certain guys that will be on YouTube. Even when the sick tune is just running. They will just be there waiting for me. They are always there. I can see them. Let me not. All right, YouTube. Have you followed me on YouTube? Have you subscribed to my channel? There's a lot happening on my YouTube channel, on my social media pages. Are you following? Let's read. Let's read. I want us to read. When last did you read a book? I want to read from the book, My Life of Duty and Allegiance by Yakubu Gowon. My Life of Duty and Allegiance by Yakubu Gowon. Yakubu Gowon was Nigeria's head of state from 1966 to 1975. He recently released his autobiography. He says, any leader who lives in fear and acts on every rumor of plots to remove him or her from office will never accomplish anything. On the contrary, he will only succeed in turning himself into a prisoner of sorts, if not to wily and self-serving advisers, then to security operatives or legions of prophets and marabouts who would always have enough information to feed his ears. Take note of that. Those are powerful lines from Gowon. Let me read it again. Any leader who lives in fear and acts on every rumor of plot to remove him or her from office will never accomplish anything. On the contrary, he will only succeed in turning himself into a prisoner of sorts, if not to wily and self-serving advisers, then to security operatives or legions of prophets and marabouts who would always have enough information to feed his fears. You know, sometimes you don't know what these governors are going through. You know, every morning they get security reports. They get security reports from the police, from the DSS, from the army, from everybody. And most of the time, the security reports are alarming. They might even tell the governor now that terrorists are already in the bush around the governor's office. So if the leader is full of fear, he will be responding to all of them. Okay, what do we do now? Okay, we need to budget 1 billion. We need to buy this. You know. The police come. Okay, we need to buy this. The leader must be firm and be able to read between the lines. Sometimes, some of the security information are also cooked up to create tension, to extract money from the leader. So the leader must be wise. That is why the leader must be a philosopher king to survive, because everybody wants to extract from the leader. You don't know what the governors are going through sometimes. But that is not an excuse. That is why leaders must have the capacity to think. Sheyi has called on the UN to come and investigate what happened. Sheyi is trying to say something that he's not saying. I'm saying, Mr. Governor, hit the nail on the head. But he will not hit the nail on the head. He has already dropped what he wants to drop. And everybody's rambling. Okay, someday I will ramble on what Sheyi means. It will be rambling, oh. We will ramble and ramble and ramble. I know what Sheyi means. I know what she is talking about. But she did not hit the nail on the head. She is suspecting something. Or is she playing politics? All right. Gowon says early in 1975, I received clear warnings from several sources that our boys were up to something. I easily understood the reference to our boys to mean young military officers from the old northern region. I was not unduly alarmed because from the 9th of January 15, 1966, when the military first made its incursion into governance in Nigeria, it had become routine to instinctively associate something with news of a coup d'etat in the works. Besides, from the time I assumed office on Monday, August 1st, 1966, as the Supreme Commander, which I later changed to my preferred title, Commander-in-Chief, in succession to the late Major Aguiyi Ironsi, who first held the position and assumed the title. I had learned to live with persistent rumors of plans to unseat my government. I often tried to ignore these reports because history had shown that governments in most developing countries functioned under ceaseless threats of coups and counter-coups. Occasionally, though, I ordered discreet investigations to ascertain the veracity of some of the reports. Often, these remained mere rumors. Then if you turn to page 3, he says, just before I departed for Kampala, the Commissioner of Police, we now call them Inspector General of Police, then they were called Commissioner. He said, just before I departed for Kampala, Commissioner of Police M.D. Yusuf, who was my Chief Security Officer and head of the special branch responsible for intelligence gathering, told me some officers were planning a coup d'etat, and they had even boasted of their readiness to take over power while I was in station, if only to demonstrate their bravery. I told him that was brazen of them, and that if I were in their position, it was better done while I am away, not when I am around, and could take over from them. Although the quality of security intelligence on these rumors were particularly good, Yusuf initially declined to reveal the identities of the masterminds of the plot to remove me as Nigeria's head of state. When I asked, he merely limited his response to saying, our boys, our boys. So the point is that Gowon's boys removed him. His boys, those protecting him were those who removed him. And he was attending the Organization of African Unity Summit in Kampala, in Uganda, in 1975, when Jugaba and co struck and removed him. The coup was led by Murtala Muhammad. Tunde Kelani was in Uganda when Gowon was removed as the head of state of Nigeria. He was a cameraman on contract with BBC, with Reuters. Here is a story he tells about Yakubu Gowon. Tunde Kelani is a master filmmaker. Tunde Kelani of Mainframe takes us to Uganda. So how did you come to work with the BBC and Reuters?
Well, I had a contract after I left NTA and we started Mainframe Productions to do the story, the visual, the camera work of events that happened in Nigeria. And I worked with at least 4 correspondents including the last one was Barnaby Phillips.
So that's how you found your way there?
No. They knew me and we had a contract. The correspondent would come and go and I would just continue anytime they needed the visuals.
I learned you were there in Uganda when Yakubu Gowon was toppled as the head of state of Nigeria. He was attending the OAU summit.
That's right, yes.
What happened?
Well, I would normally go in advance because I wasn't part of the presidential team, you see. And we're just covering the conference and other things, the cultural life of the people and so on. And the news came that there had been a change of government in Nigeria. And so there was a journalist, Yakubu Abdulaziz, I think it was Herald, one of these papers from Kwara. And we hung out together. And the following morning, we decided to go and visit the president. And
the toppled president.
The toppled president. And I was a bit uneasy because how do we greet him? We can't just say, sorry, sir, about your misfortune or something like that. And so we just came in, and fortunately for us, General Yakubu Gowon he appeared cheerful. And so we just made our own comment and he said something back. And finally, let's let the whole world hear about this and say it. And we should go downstairs and announce it. And we said, you should give us a moment. So we got the best position, set our microphone before the press knew. So everybody just came, but we were at the center stage. And he made that his famous speech.
And you recorded it?
Of course, yes, I did. But the problem was they had some suspended flights from Nigeria, from and to Nigeria at that time. So we stayed back for some time until they opened the airport and we got back. And as I strolled in the arrival hall, eyes were on me because we were very few passengers and they didn't know the importance of what I carried. So when I got to the station, gave them the film, it was processed, and then it was part of the news.
State Affairs with Edmondo Bilo is live.
That's Tunde Kelani there. Have you listened to my interview with Tunde Kelani? It's on my YouTube channel. How he became a master filmmaker. You'll find it on my YouTube channel at E. Obilo on YouTube. That's the Tunde Kelani story about Gowon. But Gowon has told us his story. And I'm enjoying his book, My Life of Duty and Allegiance by Yakubu Gowon. It's a big book. I like the book. I'm reading it. 859 pages. I was not in Nigeria when the book was released. I had to tell my guys to send it to me from Nigeria. And I've received it here, and I'm reading it. I'm reading it keenly. I will begin the review of the book. After the review, I've just done one this morning. So it's a book I will review. And I recommend the book to you. You will find the book on udarabooks.com. On udarabooks.com. You can also order the book through Udara Books WhatsApp number. And that's the number you've been calling. That's 080 18449. I'll open the line after this break. It is Splash 105.5 FM, the Integrity Station. Stay tuned, stay cool.
It is an incontrovertible fact that Nigeria was making more progress in national development in the early days of its independence when it practiced a truer federalism with 4 regions as federating units that had substantial powers devolved to them from the center. Those were the days of significant exports of groundnuts, tinor, and very high quality leather marketed abroad as Moroccan leather from the northern region, of cocoa from the western region, of rubber and timber from the Midwest region, and of palm produce and coal from the then eastern region of Nigeria. There were also the days of healthy competition between the regions, with the regional premiers, Sir Ahmadu Bello in the north, Chief Obafemi Awolowo in the west, Dr. Michael Obara in the east, and Chief Dennis Osadebe in the Midwest, all of them embarking on and delivering manifest macroeconomic, socio-economic projects. Today, the relatively non-viable 36 states have become so economically handicapped that most of them now find it difficult even to pay the salaries of their civil servants and the minimum wage of 18,000 agreed with the federal government. Many of the states, I dare say, are hovering on the brink of bankruptcy. The current 8th National Assembly has decided to resume the attempt to review and amend the country's extant constitution. There is a universal recognition within the country that the existing constitution is neither a constitution that derived its legitimacy from we the people of Nigeria, nor a constitution that provides adequate basis for tackling effectively our country's 2 major challenges, namely socioeconomic development and enduring political stability. I urge the 8th National Assembly to take this opportunity to effect a more fundamental change in the country's governance architecture, rather than stop at tinkering with the edges of the Constitution. In this age of rising global move away from the use of fossil fuel, and particularly in this period of continuing fall in the price of crude oil, our Constitution must enable the country to plan and pursue a non-crude oil-based economic development. It must also address the issue of concentration of power at the center, which is what fuels the destabilizing competition for the control of the center between the country's diverse ethnic and religious groups. Instead of the present structure of 36 economically unviable states with concentrated political power at the center, the National Assembly should convert the existing 6 geopolitical zones which have been recognized and are being used for a number of political decisions and actions, they should convert them into more viable federating units of a truly federal republic of Nigeria. The 36 states can be retained as development zones within the regions, but without full administrative paraphernalia. And it will be up to the 6 regions to consider and meet any demands for the creation of new development zones within them. It is indeed inexcusable that in a country that is endowed with so many untapped solid minerals and such vast arable land for significant agricultural production, that these resources have remained inadequately exploited for the benefits of its citizens, of whom no less than 70% still live in massive poverty. As more viable units for planning and attracting investments in larger development projects, the 6 regions will facilitate the necessary shift from the present philosophy and reliance by the 36 states on the sharing of the national cake to focusing on production and internally generated revenue within the regions. And in addition, internal security and crime control can be more effectively managed by the people in the regions who know and are more familiar with the local environment. I am, of course, realistic enough to acknowledge that the present structure of 36 state unitary federalism has acquired groups of people with deeply entrenched vested interests, especially in the executives and legislatures of the federal and the state governments. And therefore, that the change which I am advocating here cannot come easily. However, if the call for restructuring is widely made and sustained by the media, by the opinion makers, and by the general citizenry acting through their political parties and their civil societies, I believe that, aided by the fact that there is widespread recognition that the country is not performing optimally under the present governance arrangements, that those with vested interest in the existing structure will eventually be persuaded to cooperate.
State Affairs with Edmondo Bilo is live.
Emeka Anyoku there, defining restructuring in his own terms. A new governance architecture for Nigeria. Anyoku delivered that speech in 20 2016, yes. In February 2016 in Ibadan, 10 years ago, that's when Anyoku delivered that speech on restructuring. What do you think? What do you think about that speech? Let me bring in the poet, Savio Badamosi. He has something to say about national identity. Some would say that Yoruba should be a philosophy, not a place.
I think it is both and more. I think it is both and more. It's a place. It's a philosophy. It's a worldview, which is what a philosophy is anyway. But it is also a people, and it is also a language.
If it's a philosophy, is that philosophy advancing those within the geography of Yorubaness?
Well, there's a disconnect between the existence and the practice of that philosophy and the governance of that nation state we refer to.
Why is there that link?
Because through the years, we inherited a system that was not meant to serve the good of our society. And rather than sitting down to pull that system apart and create one that could bring us together as a people create a rallying point for us as a people, as a nation. What we have continued to do is to perpetuate the old system that was not meant for our advancement, that was meant to divide us into smaller, easy to govern groups.
All right, join the conversation now. Join the dialogue. Call 080 18449. That's the number to call. WhatsApp call. Remember, use your phone to monitor my voice, not your device. It will be late in your device, but if you use your phone, you are listening to me. Once I pick your call, you will know that I have picked your call. Then you make your contribution. Don't wait until you hear your voice on the radio. It will come later. That's the delay that I talk about, okay? So the number to call is 080 18449. That's the number to call. 080 18449. That's the number to call.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Edmund. Yeah, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Can you hear me? Yeah. Good morning. Yeah. You see, my own contribution this morning is we are all looking about the problem of Nigeria is not about the leadership failure. It has to do with the systemic error too. And we look at the issue from different perspectives. When I see people blaming the leadership we are talking about, are they from America or from England? Are they not our products? They're the one that produce them. By the way, are we not the one that brought them into power? So we are the one that brought them to power. So until we get this thing right, I don't see the difference between six and half a dozen. Both all of our politicians are bed of safe feather. So we need to get this thing right before the problem can only be solved. Thank you. Have a nice day. Thank you.
Thank you for calling. Thank you. The great teacher once said that he who would build both strong and high must first of all dig deep and low. Are you there? He who would build both strong and high must first of all dig deep and low. The lines are open, or the line is open. 080 999 18449. That's the number to call. Hello, good morning.
Yeah, everyone, good morning. Thank you for the good job you're doing.
Make your point.
Yeah, you are talking about Jay Makinde hitting the nail on the head. He has already hit the nail on the head because it seems more that the kidnapping or the abduction was more stage managed than not. So he's a sitting governor and executive governor for that matter. So he knows what he's seeing. And I think I learned the day of the release or rescue that he wasn't vouching. So as you said, as the last caller said, there's no difference between 6 and half a dozen. But in this case, you can see there are differences to how things went and not. Is it because he declared to be a presidential candidate? How come all of a sudden, Oyo State has become so insecure? In fact, the shocking part about the whole thing was there were locals who connived also with these criminals. And that is a source of worry for us. So thank you for the good job you're doing once more.
Thank you. Hello, Adeshola Olumide.
Hello, Mr. Edmond. It's been a long time. Hope you are fine, sir.
I'm fine.
I'm so lucky to enter into the program this morning. Let me be so quick. I want to start by this. Nations do not succeed or fail by default. They become what their institutions, leadership, education, and people continuously build over time. And let me say this. For some people that don't know, the executive is responsible for implementing and enforcing laws and managing the day-to-day affairs of the government, while the legislature is responsible for making laws and overseeing the activities of the executive. And the third arm of government, judiciary, is responsible for interpreting the law and ensuring justice is served. While the functions of we, the people, we elect leaders by voting, hold leaders accountable by questioning, obey the constitution and laws of the country, we pay taxes, and I've not heard or seen that taxes is being paid to any account of the citizens. That is to say that the leaders are responsible for the doom of a nation. Sir, the book will forever be the greatest of all time. That Why Nations Fail. I hope everybody will read that book. Sir, the leaders are accountable for 99.999% of why a nation fail or succeed, while the citizens are responsible for the rest is 0.111111. I used to say I had people saying that citizens, the leaders come out from citizens, this. But Mr. Edmond, I've been listening to your program. It's not a month, 2 years. It's not even 10 years that I've been listening. I've been listening to your program since while I was very tender, at a very tender age. And I learned so much from your program. Sir, if you take Nigerians to abroad, if you breed Nigerians in abroad, they will be a reflection of what they met there. That is how a nation is. I used to say this, education is more than an instrument of social change or personal gain. But me, I view it as an investment in national development. I will continue to say this. If our education system is not taken care of, Nigeria will continue like this. Mr. Edmond, you are saying last week, I did not agree with what you said last week, that we need to, when we are talking about people frying akara, people frying this, till when do we want to do that? Sir, we humans, we are a reflection of our environment. The reason why we say we want to travel to abroad, we want to go to US, to UK, It is because they have made their environment a beautiful place for them to live in. That is why you will see a pauper somebody, a pauper person, a pauper Nigerian will travel to US or UK, European nations, and boom, you will just see that person change. His status, his everything will change because they have invested in their environment. If Nigerians refuse to invest in their environment, investment in our environment in our country is a reflection will make is what is responsible for national development. For why? Because of the theme of this morning's program. That is the only way we can come out. Sir, individual wealth, I used to say this, individual wealth cannot save this country. You want to be rich, we should all look for a way to get rich in this country. It will not take us anywhere unless we build on our environment, we build on our surroundings. That is the only way to come out of this mess. And it is, individual cannot do that. Individual, everybody will want to be struggling to earn a living for ourselves. That is just the consequences. That is just we want to patch our ways to wealth individually. Whereas we need these leaders to take care of us, to take care of our environment.
Thank you.
Just as I've said, you cannot see an individual going to gold mines, going to mine all these natural resources. They are there for the country, for the leaders to help us to build this nation. Look at our education system in Nigeria.
Thank you. Thank you, Olumide.
Like, I'm an educationist. I want to be an educational consultant. Without taking care of our education system, see, Mr. Edmond, below 10 years to come, 20 years to come. In fact, I used to say this, that I think the British, the whites, they use education to manipulate us in Nigeria. They know that they cannot take all of us back to America, back to US. They now give us education. They now select the best ones among us to come to their country. Why?
Thank you, Olumide. I needed to call to Olumide. Okay, this caller, you cannot do more than 1 minute.
So the idea for the country, for the leaders to help us.
Hello. Hello.
Hello.
You just have 1 minute.
Hello, good morning.
1 minute. You have 1 minute.
Hello, good morning.
All right. You're not
Mr. Edmond.
You can hear me. All right, let's end it. Let's end it. No way. I'm not taking this call. Let me disconnect the system. Good. All right, the radio man must go now. We must be willing to dig, to undertake the well-ordered, strenuous job needed for nation building. And that means personal and collective improvement of our lives. It means that national discourse must champion the builder of character as fervently as it champions the builder of industry. Education must aim not merely at creating a skilled workforce, but at forming wise, ethical, and courageous individuals. Thank you for being there. Next Saturday is another time. Join me tomorrow night, 9 p.m. on another edition of State Affairs, but not on Splash, on my social media platform. Splash is every morning on Saturdays. That is 8 a.m. Splash 105.5 FM, the Integrity Station. The next program is Bangba Lashata with Abiodun Adewale. I worked with Sholaro and Bosun. Bosun is always there. Hello, Bosun. Thank you. I am Edmondo Bilo.